It's no secret that I love raiding. Raiding single-handedly saved the Destiny franchise from dying with a whisper as a jumbled mess of a game back when D1 Vanilla launched. Plenty of content creators have covered the drama behind the scenes at Bungie a year before launch that unfolded, notably Jason Schreier, that resulted in the version of Destiny 1 Vanilla that ultimately shipped. But, right as everyone was about to call it quits and move on, Vault of Glass came in and saved pretty much everything. It's not a stretch to say that raids are the lifeblood and DNA of a Destiny game. So, after a few days with the raids Monoliths Fall, how does this raid live up to the hype its big brothers set forth with their raid offerings? First, let's break down the encounters and their mechanics. Before we start, it should be said that every encounter is on a time crunch. You also have limited revives, so be aware of that as well. It's worth noting that the first encounter has impact Shinkas on the first outside area, and later, towards the end, spread Shinkas on the inside. In addition, the shield types you'll encounter are solar and void, so plan accordingly. Gwyn, Wolf, and Yolder are fantastic for this encounter with an emphasis on Yolder. Yolder's survivability proves super useful when choosing people to guard plates, but Gwyn's self-heal and high DPS make great options as well. Both can pop impact Shinkas, so both are viable, but Gwyn has access to the mythic DEL6 Kokoretsi, which are solar sidearms, while Yolder's only primary solar in her kit is her rare level SMG. She does have access to a lot of solar swords, including the Partridge Sky though, so there is always that option. The mechanic here is basically bridge building. On the entry side area, there are 2 plates, and in order to extend the plates, one player must stand on each plate once the servitors have been killed to activate them. During the ad wipe phase, 2 captain key bearers will spawn in and need to be killed to attain their keys. Once the bridge is built, the 2 key bearers will cross the bridge, kill one of the Scorch Vandals behind the key barriers, and then use the cannon to break a fuse on the door at the back wall. This will complete one of 3 cycles required to complete the encounter. The second round will proceed the same as the first, but on the third round, the plates on the opposite side will activate instead and will be guarded by Solar Shield Heavy Shanks and Void Shield Captains and Servitors. Once all 3 fuses are broken, it's just a matter of burning down the remaining adds as quick as possible. There will be 1 Void Shield Ultra Captain that's especially tanky, as well as 2 Void Shield Heavy Shanks and 2 Spread Shinkas. Wolf will really shine here, especially when paired with Smart Bomb. For faster runs, 1 person can handle the mechanics on one side of the bridge, so there's more people clearing adds down at the starting location, but round 2 will need to send at least 2 up. The strategy we use is to send 1 up first round, 2 on second, and 2 on third, with the final person coming up after the final fuse is blown. The second encounter is decently easy, as long as you know what you're doing. Arc and Void Shields are present here, and there's a lot of CC to go around, so Gwyn, Yolder, and Ning Fei are excellent choices for this encounter. This encounter revolves around delivering fuses to power the elevator to ascend to the final encounter room, and you attain those from other rooms. Spread Shinkas and Rapid Fire Shinkas are your primary gates here, so Wolf is also a great play for this encounter. The first room you enter before beginning the encounter will teach you the main mechanics, but it's essentially matching symbols. There will be 4 monitors, 2 of which will have a shape and 2 of which will have a symbol. You have to activate the consoles that have the correct shape and the correct symbol to progress the encounter. After doing it once, the 2 batteries will be available to carry down and deposit into the elevator. Once you do that, 2 portals will activate on opposite sides of the elevator. 2 designated players will enter the portal, kill the servitor, and input the symbol on the big screen behind the servitor spawn into the little consoles. Once the code's been entered, outside will split into 2 teams of 2, each taking a side, and enter their codes as well. Upon doing this, they will be teleported into the room with the other teammate. Now, being split into 2 teams of 3, each team will have to carry a battery through a series of 3 rooms to enter a return portal back to the main room. The catch is that rooms 1 and 3 have barriers that require Scorch Cannons to break. 2 sets of Scorch Vandals will spawn in each room. We in Overkill opt to kill the right one and ignore the left unless we screw up the next mechanic. Once you have a Scorch Cannon, there are 4 pillars around the battery you have to shoot. Once all 4 are shot, the battery is able to be picked up and carried. The battery carrier is the only person who's able to block the lightning in the doorways, allowing for their teammates to have safe passage. So stick close to the battery holder, and when they're blocking lightning, you'll want to progress and keep progressing. Don't stop until you're all the way through, or else you may end up dying to the lightning. If you're not carrying the battery, your job is CC and targeting Overseers, a new enemy that will appear on walls and ceilings that can trap you in a damaging bubble. They aren't particularly tough, and Ningfei is specifically good for this role. Upon making it into the last room, a spread Shinka will need to be killed, followed by one of 2 spawning Scorch Vandals. Again, overkill focuses on the right one, but it's really up to preference. Kill the Vandal, and using the Scorch Cannon, blow up the fuses on either side of the door, and boom, you're clear to grab the battery and proceed. Once you're in the main room, clear the adds, deposit the batteries, and prepare to repeat the cycle. After depositing the batteries, a Void Shield Heavy Shank will spawn on both sides. These will need to be killed before the portal team members can actually return into the portal. After the teammates enter the portal, a rapid-fire Shinka will also spawn and need to be burned down. Ningfei can be quite good for this section thanks to his crossbow being rapid-fire kryptonite. Once you've managed to run the encounter twice, you're ready to take an elevator ride up and move on to the last encounter. The final encounter has the most moving parts. Scorch cannons destroying fuses, matching symbols in the teleport room, and jumping, essentially. This encounter has a Void and Solar Shields, and there are a number of viable characters for this encounter. Yolder, Wolf, Tantu, and Gwen all lead the pack as excellent choices. For weapons, Smart Bomb on Wolf, Concerto or Octant Riot Dispenser, or a good rolled Eternal Retribution on Gwen, Nobunaga on Yolder, and Izanagi's or a Rapid Fire Sniper and the Total Lockdown Scout on Tantu work great here. You'll encounter Impact Shinkas and Piercing Shinkas, so Tantu will really shine against the latter. The main area is split into 3 sections, center, left, and right. Isaacus will jump from the center to the left and left to the right, and then back to center once the mechanics have been completed. When the encounter starts, each side will spawn a Piercing Shinka. The Tans will need to burn their shields so that the team can wipe them out quickly. We usually start with the right one, then the left, as left is closer to left encounter area, so less backtracking for the first boss area mechanics. The mechanics for left and right will be to kill 2 Scorched Vandals and use their cannons to break 1 fuse on either side of the boss within a specific time frame. Failing to do so results in a wipe. Succeeding makes the boss jump to the next area. Once you've broken the fuses on the left and the right portals, the boss will return to center. A short period of time after his return to center, he will summon an Impact Shinka on each of the teleport areas on either side of the room. Burn them down quickly, but keep a bit of distance as the moment they drop, the portal is activated. After killing both Shinkas, 2 players will enter the portals and be teleported to a big room with a screen. A large servitor will need to be killed, which will cause the screen to show the boss's weakness areas. To start the DPS phase, the remaining light bearers outside of the area will need to shoot and break the corresponding areas. There are a total of 9 shootable areas, each of his claws, each of his legs, and his back. Luckily, the ping system will only offer 1 of 3 choices and will show all players on screen with an accompanying picture which part needs to be destroyed. Always make sure you use the picture as a reference, not the words. It'll say something like left claw, but it's talking about the boss's left, as in left from the boss's perspective, right from the player's. This has tripped up some players a lot during our carries, but the pictures show exactly where to shoot. So long as the players inside the portal ping the correct section, your team should get to damage phase. The boss stuns like a somewhat normal spider tank, so gather in front of his face and lay into him. Nobunaga does massive DPS here for some reason, as does Izunagi's Octant and Light Infused Smart Bomb grenades. Yolder's bubble duration is almost perfectly aligned with the boss's damage phase as well, as long as you delay a couple of seconds before placing it. Ryan has it down to a science, for example. Tantu, dropping a damage rift 2, helps immensely here. After you finish damage phase, it's rinse and repeat if you need to, and, you're done. One thing to look out for if you do get pushed to the second phase is bruiser enemies. These are some elite bruiser enemies that will try to make life difficult for you when the phase starts, as they tend to stick close to the piercing Shinkas. You'll want to burn them down as quickly as possible and ensure the run goes smooth. In addition, the lightning stomp wave that the boss sends out whenever he's in left and right sections is actually a little bit higher now, so whenever he stomps, you'll pretty much have to jump to avoid getting damaged, so make note of that as well. And that's it. With that, the raid will officially be completed. So, now that we've gotten that out of the way, what's my opinion of Monoliths Fall? Well, Monoliths Fall is no Vault of Glass, but That doesn't mean it's not great. The puzzles and mechanics of the encounters present a challenge, and forcing players to tackle the challenge of the raid massively underprepared ended up making for a really challenging and fun experience on day one. Further, if I'm being honest, the time gating of power actually worked to the raid's advantage, as the raid wasn't trivialized a day after its release by creeping power. Does it get easier with every passing day? Absolutely. In fact, yesterday we got multiple one phases on the boss, but it's still a really fun experience. Matchmaking is essentially a no-go for this mode, or at least it was during this entire event. Though it does include it, all I can say is good luck on that third encounter if you decide to go that route. At least during the time gating. Afterwards, as long as you watch a video guide beforehand, you should be okay. Of course, there is another version, the contest version, coming in the future, but as for how difficult that will be, really only time will tell. We didn't get it in the beta, so, there's that. Those of us from the beta and alpha recognize the encounters featured in Monoliths Fall since we had actively run them previously, but since I didn't participate in the server's first race, the experience of running the activity under light was new, and I have to say that the challenge felt pretty great. So long as the contest mode recreates even a sliver of that challenge present here on day one, there should be no issues. But how does it stack up to a full-on raid experience? Well, if you're looking for the full Destiny 2 raid experience, this just ain't it, Chief. It's no stretch to say that I enjoy this raid. In fact, I've been running the raid back-to-back as Virus's carry partner for 4 to 5 hour stints daily since day 3 of the raid. I genuinely enjoy the activity, and I enjoy taking the community through the activity. There's just something awesome about taking people through and hearing their excitement when they get that exotic weapon that, really hits home for me. You've helped to make their Destiny Rising experience that much better, and honestly, that's the main reward for doing carries. The raid has a 3 times per week boosted reward system, with pinnacle looted rewards being slightly diminished, but still decently fair. The grind for exotics is prevalent, and during those 3 boosted runs per week, you have a 15% chance with a guaranteed exotic dropping after a specific number of runs. Pinnacle rewards after the 3 weekly claims are reduced, but still pretty good. And further, the newly boosted basic rewards as of yesterday implemented really make doing carries a lot more worth it for those of us doing them. It's also nice to be able to target farm exotics, and each of these encounters has a featured exotic to chase. In addition, there are focusing options as well in the synthesize screen, letting you make a raid exotic engram 3 times a month for 90 exotic weapon fragments. Since the pool is limited to the 3 main weapons, you can pretty much guarantee those drops fairly easily, which is nice considering the loot pool is decently large for launch at 19 exotics to acquire. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. How does this raid compete with Destiny and Destiny 2's raids? Simply put, it doesn't. Is it an enjoyable experience? Absolutely. Does it capture the essence of a raid? 100%. In the end, the game is limited by the fact that it's a mobile game. While mobile games can be sat down and ran like console games, their targeted audience is the on-the-go player. As such, their targeted audience amount of time that is assumed to be available to the player is smaller and shorter framed. And that's apparent from the way Gauntlet Blitz is put together. The whole raid is broken into 3 sections, each with its own mechanics as well as overlapping mechanics. The raid teaches you their mechanics through various means beforehand, which leaves a lot of the mystery of figuring out random mechanics like we see in Destiny raids traditionally out of the equation, and instead focuses on cohesion, execution, and teamwork. Some mechanics, such as in Isakis' Tabernacle, the third encounter, are unforgiving, and other classic staples of raids like damage checks are present. The main reasoning for the raid-light design is to appeal to a shorter attention span and time frame. Mechanics, while simplified by comparison, are still raid-like in nature and feel really good. Attempting to play under light presents a real challenge and can result in a real struggle. But the real challenge is yet to come in the form of the challenge mode raid. Once it releases, I get the feeling we'll see the raid in its final form, and my opinion may completely change. So to sum things up, is this as good as Destiny raids traditionally should be or are? No. It's fun, and it captured the sport really well, but in the end it's shackled by its mobile market targets, causing the team to aim a little short of capturing the full raid experience. As both a mobile version of a raid and the first attempt at making a raid, NetEase passes with flying marks. The experience is fun, mechanics are cool, and to be honest, I really like the fact that they teach you the mechanics beforehand. Destiny 2 struggles with new player onboarding, and even more so with raid and dungeon onboarding for novice players. That is clearly not going to be an issue with Destiny Rising, and if things continue as I think they will, the standard mode will be targeted towards teaching the base mechanics for the significantly more difficult challenge mode when it releases, which will dial everything up to 11. Though that could honestly just be cope on my part, but I suppose only time will tell. Now let's talk about how you and your team can clear the raid if you're struggling, and those strategies that put my clan and I atop the leaderboards in the beta. First and foremost, you want to try to get your power level as high as possible. The higher your power level, the easier the runs will be. Speaking of, the encounters do have matchmaking, but I really can't recommend running most of the encounters with matchmaking. The first encounter may be doable, and perhaps even the second, but for the most part, the third encounter in particular will prove difficult for random fire teams. If you don't have a team to run, my clan Overkill as well as Virus's viewer clan are running Sherpas and carries and have been all week, so you are more than welcome to try and hop on one of those. But there are a ton of streamers out there who are doing the same, so even if you can't hop in with us, there's bound to be someone who can help. There's also LFG, and you can recruit for it in the game's official Discord as well. I hope you all enjoyed the video and my thoughts on Monoliths Fall raid. I apologize for not posting much over the last week. To be honest, there's been a lot going on with the raid launch and helping Virus with carries. I'm also preparing to relaunch my Twitch stream for those interested. The links will be down below. And yeah, that's all I've got for now. So I've got some additional videos in the works and coming soon, so stay tuned for those. And in the meantime, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you all in the next video.